Hey viewers, welcome to a quick review of last week's Battle 9 Season 6 between Chaos Demons and the Minotaurs Space Marines chapter. This is at the introduction stage, so it's a stage where I just do a little bit of storyline elements, a bit of narrative. So I've basically cleaned the board here. This is the board we're going to be using for this battle. And these are the armies that I've got assembled up here. We'll have a quick look at those in a minute. So the idea behind this battle is that we're inside the Night Haunter's tower, which is meant to be that. I suppose that's just the backdrop. So the Night Lords have not disappeared, but gone away to the Forest of the Crazies. They had that battle with the Catachans last week, and we're inside their home tower. So halfway down this tower there's like these stairwells like this. These are meant to be various stairwells halfway down, and the Space Marines chapter over here, these guys here, all that, they're basically a strike force. They know that the Night Lords are away from their homes, so they've got this beacon running from this Space Marine here, and they're from an unusual chapter which I won't cover just yet, because that's going to be a spoiler for a later thing. But anyway, so Space Marines down here, we've got a Chaos Sorcerer character who's going to play a bit of a role in this season. Basically this is meant to be a little prison area. He's in here, he's locked away, he's going to be rescued. So the Space Marines over here come down and try and rescue him. But while the Night Lords are away, in last battle, Battle 8, we showed a little cartoon segment where demons are basically coming up from this tower. The Night Lords can't keep control of it, so they're going to come out of these trenches here. I was thinking of using Nurgle, but I've used Nurgle quite a lot, I suppose, over the last few weeks, so I wanted to go for a different type of Demons army. Anyway, so this is what we're going to have for Demons, alright? We're going to have these guys up here. That's, as usual, our group of heroes who are going to come into the equation next week. So this is our group of Demons. Got a lot of change up the back. We've got quite a few Age of Sigmar type of Demons in here. So look, this is what we're going to be using. Bunch of horrors. We've got these are different Lord of Change models. I'm going to be using them as Lords of Change. So horrors. I've got these characters here. These are Age of Sigmar. I really can't remember the names of those guys. Wraiths, is it, or something? But anyway, they're going to be loaded in as deep strike units. You're going to sort of appear out of nowhere and start attacking the Space Marines. We've got a whole heap of more horrors up the back there, and demons up the front, more horrors, lots more, and we've got a couple of crazy horrors on mounts up the back there, which will get a go later in the battle. And as far as Space Marines go, we've got no tanks in this battle, because we really can't fit that into the narrative. So you can't really sort of infiltrate a tower with a tank. I suppose you could burst through the front door, but it's not happening. So a few Terminators, different sorts of characters there. You'll get a good look of them as the battle progresses. Again, Titan's not going to get a show in this battle, but he'll get a show later on. So the idea is this guy's going to try and escape, and I'm going to use his chapter later in the battle, just later on, in some sort of battle. I think it's about 2 or 3 battles away that they get used. So these Space Marines we've got here are going to rescue them. So that's our board, pretty open. There's a couple of stairwells and things like that, but we're having these. This is my, I suppose I should say, the inside the towers. I'm going to be doing a lot of dungeon crawling, so I'm trying to sort of experiment with some indoor type of mechanics just to see if I can get that to work properly. But anyway, so that should work out fairly well. We've got some stairwells. We've got the inside of the Night Haunter's tower. Can the Chaos Demons defeat the Space Marines? Alright, we've got the deployment coming up shortly. Okay, so I have done the introductory narrative, and this is the deployment for the two armies. On this side of the board we have the Space Marines all deployed, and on the other side we have the forces of chaos which have emerged from this swampy section, all Zenich demons in this one. So in our narrative section we had our two Space Marine leaders basically walk along this section here, found the prisoner in there, defeated some horror guards, and then came out this way. Now the Space Marines opened a portal, the prisoner escaped, but before they could escape all that came out, and then they summoned the rest of their army, and since they can't really teleport out in this instance, they have to fight their way out. So that's our deployment for the forces of chaos. Got some horrors there. They're all basically demons except for a dreadnought, I think, that's in there. So that's what it looks like. Just a quick skim of it. And likewise on the Space Marine side, we've only got a few land speeders on this side. No armour, but there's plenty of dreadnoughts and stuff like that, so it should hold up pretty well. Deep striking, we've got chaos, we've got these guys. This guy here is not involved, so I'll just disregard him. So we've got them. We've also got this for the Space Marines, couple of units, actually one unit of Terminators and one jump pack unit. So there we have it. That is deployment. We've got turn one coming up shortly. Okay, viewers, you'll have to bear with me with my voice here. Been off sick for a while, and I haven't actually been doing this battle. I've left this for 2 weeks. Haven't been well, but anyway, I'm back into it now, and I'll try and do as best I can. Anyway, here we go. First half of turn one, and we've had the demons have their turn. They're advancing across the board. We've got the Space Marines on the other side all ready to defend themselves. So we had the horrors just traverse this sewerage system here and just land there. The what they're called, Seekers, are they? Seekers, fast moving demons, basically flying across the board, hiding behind this stairwell here. Dreadnought just stuck around the corner and just sat there, didn't fire, just ready to open up as they advance. And we had only one shot from the unit at the front here against land speeder over that side, didn't take it out. We had the demon, the top here, graded demon, take a position on top of the stairwell, ready to descend upon the enemy. Over this side, basically this whole mob here advanced and stuffed themselves behind this stairwell slash prison, was a prison from the introduction. So they're sitting there pretty well defended. Again, didn't take any shots. Over this side, this stairwell was used as cover as well. So all in all, only one shot fired, no casualties, but a lot of cover taken up by the demon forces. So we'll see what the Space Marines can do in their turn coming up next. Hey viewers, here we are at the second half of turn one. It's been 2 weeks or thereabouts since I've actually did the first half of turn one. Had a bit of a break for a while, actually been editing the Kill Team battles. The Kill Team 8B is what I've just finished doing, and I'm pretty excited about it. The Kill Team battles look pretty good, I reckon. We'll wait and see what everyone else reckons. Anyway, back to this battle. We've had the Space Marines have their turn. We'll start over here. We had this group here basically just advance. They've all got melee weapons, so no doubt they want to take those to the Daemons over here when they can. We had some land speeder activity here. That fired there and took out one of these yellow Daemons at the front there. And the two HQ units there, basically sitting behind the land speeder as cover, mobile cover. We had some rocket launcher, missile launcher, I should say, activity here. Took out that Daemon, which wanted to take out this one here. It also got fired upon by Dreadnought, which moved up from here. And this unit here is just taking a pretty exposed position just on top of this little ledge here. I don't know why they sort of sat up there rather than behind cover, probably trying to draw some fire maybe, or the attention of winged Demon over there. Moving over this side, we had this unit here fire into the horrors over there. This land speeder fired upon that, contributed to taking down that one there. And what do we have here? We've got the Space Marines here, took out one horror up there, and this unit here, this land speeder, tried to take out this Demon up the side here. So overall, a few casualties, not too many. The Demons are going to get into close combat soon, and don't forget we've got some deep striking units over here. Those and some more Demons over the side there. I'll get to those in a minute. That's in turn 2. Got that coming up shortly. Okay, here we are at the end of the first half of turn 2. The Demons become surging across the board. We had, over this side, we had some horrors here. Managed to take out one Marine on this side, one solitary Marine. Bit of bad luck there, but anyway. And we had these Seekers move across the board. Couldn't quite get into combat over here, but they're very close. They're going to go surging through all that when the time comes. So that's what happened there. We had our winged Greater Demon fly down from up here and engage this group of Marines here and took out 2. Over here we had Dreadnought firing over into those Marines over there, and one was taken out. Cavalry units couldn't make it into combat, but is sitting out in the middle. Same with the horrors over there. They just came around the corner, and they're going to get chewed up by this bolt of fire on this side of the table for the Space Marines. Over here we had the horrors at the back. They came out, led by the Greater Demon, who vaporized with some assistance from over here. Took out one land speeder. So few casualties on this side. That's what we've had, all Space Marine casualties this turn. So we'll have the Space Marines fire into the advancing Demons coming up in the second half of turn 2, coming up shortly. Here we are at the end of the second half of turn 2, and the Space Marines have dug in and taken chunks out of the Demons advancing. We had some deep striking units at the back here. We had some jetpack units just pitched down behind this little rocked staircase there, little staircase. Tried to fire on the Demons at the back here, but didn't take any out. We had a lot of horrors get taken out by that rampaging group of melee based Space Marines. Took most of the unit out. The land speeder basically reversed its direction and took a position just here and fired upon the advancing Demons. They got also took a bit of missile launcher fire there, so they took a few out there. Over here we had our HQ units for the Space Marines advance and try and take out the Lord of Change there. Took out 2 Space Marines, but heavily wounded that Lord of Change. The Dreadnought here charged into the horrors, the mounted horrors, and took out 2. There's now fairly exposed to a counter attack. Down here we had the Space Marines just take out a bunch of those horrors just there. Next land speeder just took a position up here just so I could fire upon the other Lord of Change, trying to take out the 2 2 HQ units to the Demons because they're the major threats obviously. So it did that, but also that is fairly exposed. Water change took a bunch of fire from that unit there, and we also had the Emperor's Champion unit, and the company model came here, up here, and just took out, what did they take out? They took out that, I can't remember the name for it. Anyway, so they end up being fairly exposed themselves. Over the back here we had some Terminators touch down, and they did fire into the back of those horrors, taking out a couple. So all the deep strike units are on the board for the Space Marines. The battle is right in the midst of it now, but we also have up the sleeve for the Chaos units some deep striking melee units. We'll see where they pop up next turn. Okay, we've got turn 3 coming up shortly. Here we are at the end of the first half of turn 3, and the battle's well underway now. We had over this side of the board, we had these Demons here converge upon this group of Space Marines. There was another 4 there. They just turned around and just went bang and took a few out. A few horrors got taken out as well. There's only 2 of those remaining, so that melee continues. We'll see if those Space Marines can hold off all that. Wait and see. We had some deep striking units for the Demons pop out just here and just sit there and bide their time, ready to assault somebody next turn somewhere, who knows. Here there was a combat just with the Greater Demon there. It was heavily wounded, as I mentioned before, and it just flew back onto this elevated area here, so withdrew from combat. Didn't want to get taken out. Over this side there was a Space Marine Dreadnought and a couple of mounted horrors. Those guys just there. So this Dreadnought charged into that melee and is the only survivor there, so it's sitting there ready to move on. Here we had Horror Group number 1 charge into these Space Marines, take out a few. They lost a few as well, so that combat is ongoing. Greater Demon over this side just came from over there and took out a land speeder who was just sitting up there. We had Horror Group number 2 charge in. These Space Marines here they didn't fare too well. They lost a few and really didn't capitalise on the charge. Over this side we had Horror Group number 3 have a bit more success. Well, there's heaps of horrors. They took out 1 Space Marine, leaving Emperor's Champion just sitting there ready to fend off the hordes by himself. So there we have it. That's the end of first half of turn 3. We'll see what the Space Marines can do when they have their turn next. Here we are at the end of the second half of turn 3. Space Marines have had their turn. We've got a pile of casualties sitting up the back there. Let's have a run around the board. We had these Space Marines here with jetpacks. They were sitting behind this little rock area here, and they just zoomed over that canal there, and basically they couldn't really fire at anyone because there's a melee going on over here. That unit there is pretty well covered behind that rocky staircase there, so they couldn't get a shot off. So they just parked themselves right there, ready to assault next turn. Over this side we had a melee there. There was 2 horrors. They went down. There was also 2 of those yellow demons there. They were taken out, and also 1 Space Marine. So the Space Marines decided to hold their ground and turn back the demon horde. So there's quite a few there they've got to take on, but they've got their armour and hammers, lightning claws, that guy at the front there. So they should maybe carve them up, who knows. Land speeder basically just didn't really speed, moved about 2 inches that way and fired into that group there, took out a couple of those yellow ones. We had all these missile launchers, heavy weapons, fire and take out the wounded graded demon that retreated last turn, if you remember. Went from there, flew up onto that, and then it got vaporised by those guys. So that was a key move. We had this group here, the HQ unit for the Minotaurs. They basically charged in and took out the Dreadnought, who's now in the casualty area over there. So he was taken out. And this melee here, they basically held their ground again, took out 3 horrors, and a couple of marines were taken out. So they're basically just duking it out. Same thing went over here, but it went a little bit better for the Space Marines. They took out 4 horrors and only lost 1 marine, so they've got the upper hand there, the marines, except there's something lurking close by which might cause a few problems. Over here, probably the play of the turn, the Emperor's Champion here, sitting here, carved up 2 horrors and held back the entire group of horrors. So good job. How long can that last? Who knows. Over this side we had the Terminators, which deep striked, I don't know, but they came down over here and basically ran this way. There was nothing to fire at. There was a melee going on over here, one going here, and they really couldn't get a shot at the graded demon there because they've got this huge big rock staircase again in the way. So they've just parked themselves behind the staircase, ready to pop out and either carve them up or maybe get a crack at the graded demon. Who knows? Anyway, that's the end of turn 3. We've got turn 4 coming up shortly. Still a lot on the board. Could go either way. We'll see what happens next. Here we are at the end of the first half of turn 4, and the demons have carved a line through the Space Marines. We finally had the Emperor's Champion get taken down by the horrors over here. He took 2 last chops at the horrors, took 2 out, but then fell. Over here, the graded demon just reinforced this combat here, took out 3 marines with the help of the horrors. A few horrors went down as well, but those marines are looking in a bit of trouble with that graded demon doing its thing. Over here we had ongoing combat between these horrors and the Space Marines, and Space Marines are dropping like flies there, but so are the horrors. Pretty evenly matched. Over here, this group of Space Marines, heavy weapons, they were assaulted by this group of demons, and 3 were taken out, so they're in a bit of trouble there. Over this side, last bit of combat, we had 2 Space Marines here, only 1 went down, and this last guy, taking some inspiration from our Emperor's Champion over the other side, is sitting there by himself taking on all that, just slugging away with some lightning claws underneath there. Lightning claws. See how long he can last. He may get reinforced by those Marines with jump packs over there. We'll have to wait and see what's happening next. So pretty evenly balanced. We've still got a reasonably healthy graded demon over here. Can cause a lot of damage, but we do have Terminators over the back there, and we've still got quite a few Marines on the board. So we've got second half of turn 4 coming up shortly. Second half of turn 4, and there's not much more on the board now. We've had the Space Marines with jump packs fly out from behind that little staircase and come into this combat here. Now, I've referred to these as Seekers before. They're Screamers, obviously. Just keep forgetting the name sometimes. There was one Space Marine with lightning claws there, but he died. A whole heap of Screamers died, and now that's evened up that combat there. Over here we had 2 dudes with missile launchers. They were there, they just ran out, fled that combat there, and stood on that step. Hopefully they'll regroup or something later. Exposed these guys to fire from the land speeder. managed to take one of them out. Over this side we had the horrors and the changeling. They almost got vaporised when they were assaulted by the HQ unit for the Space Marines, but they've held out for maybe at least one other turn. Over here both horrors and Space Marines got vaporised, leaving two models left, one for each side, but that graded demon is still fairly strong, so should clean up the last remaining Space Marine. Over this side we had Terminators come out from behind this rocky section here, staircase, and charged into the mass of horrors. Only 3 horrors remain, no casualties for the Terminators. Obviously fairly strong, so still could go anyway. We've got 2 turns to go. We'll wait and see what comes up next. Here we are at the end of the first half of turn 5, and we've seen the Demons have mixed results here. We'll start with this side of the board. We had Assault Marines and Screamers going toe to toe, and there were 2 casualties on each side, so only 2 remained for each side there. We had these Demons here assault a land speeder and take it out. Moving over into the middle here, we saw the Changeling and the Horrors there flee from combat after they were faced with all that strength of the Imperium. Over here we had the Lord of Change in combat with 1 Marine, and no surprises there who won. So the Lord of Change is sitting out there in the open. And over this side of the board, the Horrors again fled from combat when faced with those Terminators. So now those Terminators have got some options there as far as what they want to do. So there we have it. Not many models on the board. We've got the second half of turn 5 coming up shortly. Last half of turn 5, the battle's almost over. We've had the Space Marines pretty much stamp their dominance on this game. We had the Terminators here follow up the fleeing Horrors, clean them up right and proper. We also had this group, the HQ unit, and the remnants of another unit, basically clean up the Changeling and the 2 Horrors that were fleeing, so they're cleaned up. We had these 2 missile launcher Marines basically regroup and fire in to this unit here, and taking out 1. The Screamers and the 2 Space Marines fought it out up there. The Screamers finally fell away. Space Marines win that combat, so they're really, I can see them winning from here. But anyway, we'll see what the Chaos Demons can do. First half of turn 6 coming up shortly. First half of turn 6, the Demons have had their last roll of the dice. We had the Graded Demon charge into the Minotaur HQ unit. There were 2 other Marines there. They got taken out, but they couldn't, or the Demon couldn't actually destroy the entire unit, so they sit there in combat. Over here we had, well, there were 2 Assault Marines there. They got assaulted by these guys, so now the Demons control that area. So we've got Demons, a couple of missile launcher dudes, we've got the Lord of Change and the HQ unit for the Minotaurs, and a fully fledged group of Terminators over the back there. So that's what we've got. We've got the last part of turn 6 coming up shortly. We'll see what happens. Well, there we have it. That's the end of turn 6, and no surprises here. The Space Marines have come out victorious. So a final look at the board. We had some missile launcher fire here against the last remaining Demons over there. No casualties. We had 1 casualty on the Space Marine side here in this final melee, which never actually got resolved. So time ran out, and those 2 keep duking it out. And we also had the Terminators on this side, which couldn't really do anything. They just basically moseyed on over here and just control that section of the board. So overall we've got a Space Marine victory So at this stage I will do a short narrative part where I haven't actually worked the detail out yet, but I'm just thinking that these guys give each other some last minute trash talk, and then the greater demon just sort of flies back out of combat and sort of withdraws either into that, it's probably too small, maybe over there into that sewer section over there, and is not seen from again. These guys might make some comment about going back to the burning saw to find out what is this space marine all about. Well, this guy here who was in the narrative section, I don't want to show the entire army because that is for another day, but so that's really where it sits. The Space Marines are victorious. They'll withdraw back to the Custodes base at the Burning Saw. This tower here will be, well, the Night Lords will actually come back to the tower and find it basically trash from this battle, I imagine. And then I'll move on to next week, which is going to be back into Myth Trevor. So I'll continue next week, or our next battle, with these guys here. And I've got some things I'm pretty excited about. I won't let too much out because you just have to watch next week, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye.